Welcome back to Between Pages and Friends. I'm Con.
And I'm Lauren, and today we are discussing our March reads. But first, we have a very exciting announcement.
We're on Patreon!
Starting Tuesday, April 2nd, you can join one of our 3 tiers on Patreon.
Yes, so many of you guys have asked us about joining a book club with us, starting a podcast, ways to chat with us more directly. So we are finally making it happen. Through Patreon, you'll be able to join our Discord, ongoing buddy reads with us, Con and Lauren, live Q&As and book chats with all 4 of us, including John and Kyle, and so much more bonus content to come.
I seriously cannot wait. Speaking of podcasts, we are working really hard behind the scenes to see if we can make that happen, because so many of you have asked if it's going to be our next step. So we can't wait to share with you maybe some more of that bonus content or the steps on to get us there in our Patreon tiers. So pop in and join us.
We will be kicking off our Patreon with a live ACOTAR Q&A with John, as he has just wrapped up the series. That'll be happening. The live Q&A will be on Friday, April 5th. So make sure you're following us over on Instagram and TikTok as well, at Between Pages and Friends, and we'll have all the info over there.
Yeah, I think we are all highly anticipating his ending reactions to all the things. So that'll be great. Speaking of all things that John says, we have merch with all the things that John says. So, first of all, you guys have blown us away with the support that you guys have shown. Everybody's leaving the nicest comments when you buy the things, and it's just so sweet and so supportive, and it's just making doing all of this so worth it. So thank you so much. We love seeing all the videos and pictures of you in your merch or where you're sticking your stickers and all the things. So please keep sharing those with us. And we like to put them on our Instagram stories or share them too. So make sure you're tagging us and all your stuff.
Yes, we also love to share the messages that you guys leave us at checkout when you purchase merch, and we were actually just talking about this one. They come up as little notifications on our phones, and we just got one 13 minutes ago from Addie, and she said, "My friend and I are obsessed with the husband reaction videos, so excited to have matching shirts of our favorite comment from the series."
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, thanks, Addie.
Send us a picture of you guys matching.
Please. We love all the other book besties on Instagram, and it's so cute.
My favorite. It's my favorite.
Speaking of Instagram and TikTok, we do see all of your comments, we see your messages, and we are writing down all of your suggestions for new merch. We have this continuously growing list of new merch that's coming very, very soon.
Yay! So my favorite merch, well, first of all, before we get into that, let's shout out to Connor, because she's designing all of these things and working so hard over there, so we love her for it. My favorite one, as the one I'm wearing now, it's my read more books, and I really love where it says Between Pages and Friends down the arm, but I specifically love it in this color. It's this color for me.
I know. Seeing you in that sweatshirt, I want to buy the same one. I need to order the same color. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's so cute.
My favorite one I'm also wearing currently because I never take it off anymore. It's the emotional support sweatshirt. So many people were joking about John always going straight for his emotional support sweatshirt when he was reading Sarah J. Maas books. And so we turned it into a sweatshirt, and these sweatshirts are so soft and they're embroidered, and I just love them. I'm obsessed.
It's been an incredible month. We are celebrating over 50,000 followers on TikTok and over 25,000 followers on Instagram. This has all happened so extremely fast for us, and just taken our page in a direction we could have never imagined, and we are just along for the ride with y'all, and it's just been so much fun. And so yeah, thanks for making it so fun for us.
We love you guys.
Oh my God. I think it's time to get into our March reads. We have read 6 books this month. It has been super crazy because of just all the things that are happening and taking our normal reading time. I don't know. This is usually a busy time for me anyways with my actual real job. So this is normal for me. I don't know if you have a normal since you're so new to reading a heck ton in a year kind of a thing.
Yeah, so if you're newer around here, Lauren convinced me to get back into reading right at the end of 2022. So 2023 was really my first year back into reading, and I ended up reading 149 books after never reading more than 14 books in 1 year. So I definitely don't really have a normal. My goal is 100 for this year, and I think I'm at 18 right now. Goodreads is still saying I'm a few books behind schedule, but we'll catch up. But I know you read way crazy amounts of books in the summer, and then I tend to read more in the summer too, I think. But we have busy seasons at work, and I'm getting into one right now. So
and I, as a teacher, as soon as school is out, that's all I'm doing is reading a book. So I think I read most of my books in spring break.
Spring break.
The ones we're gonna talk about today. So I guess let's just do it. Kick it off. It's your turn, girl.
So
it says girl with a U. Can we talk about that? And I just said it, and I laughed at it earlier, and I was like, I'm not saying that. And then I just
kick it off, girl. You really went for it. I appreciate your commitment.
With a U, girl.
I almost typed girl with like the O. I figured that wouldn't roll off the tongue quite as well, but you killed it. That was great.
Thanks.
So 3 of my 6 books this month were actually Tessa Bailey books. I went on like we talked about this last month. I went on like a huge Tessa Bailey binge situation. So my first read of the month was book number 2 in Tessa Bailey's Hot and Hammered series, and it was called Love Her or Lose Her. I rated this 5 stars. It was so sweet. The first book in the series, Fix Her Up, I rated 4 stars, but this one I just loved the characters in this book. It was so sweet. It was very cute. She's always spicy. Like usually she's a good go-to for a good like spicy fluffy read, but these were just so sweet. And there was a letter in the book that one of the characters wrote the other main character, and it like made me tear up. It was so sweet. It was a very cute book.
So no use of the word loins?
No loins.
And what is this woman's profession? Is she a clown?
No like weird professions in this one. This one, she wanted to open her own restaurant.
Oh, okay.
All the main male characters work for the same like construction company in the small town. So there's like a setup from.
Is he like helping her construct this restaurant or whatever?
Yeah, he ends up helping her with it, but it's not like this one's not quite as closely tied to the construction company as the first book was, but it was very cute.
The first book I read this month was not 5 stars.
Oh.
So I have my sparks for reading started from trying to read the book before the movie came out. Like that was me in high school. I'd just like get a list of whatever movies were coming out, and that was my reading list for the year, and I would literally be like rush finishing it sometimes to like get to the movie or whatever. That was like my thing. So anytime I see that there's a movie, I look up to see the book first, and that's like typically how I try to do it. So last year, Loveboat Taipei, I think they just called it Loveboat, the movie, and it's on Paramount Plus. It's so cute. But I watched the movie first. Like one of my sisters told me to watch it, and I did, and then found out later it was a book, and I was like so upset. I always read the book first. And I did like a little review on it on our page, and I loved it. I loved the movie. And the book was really cute too. But the difference is in the movie, it's like a love triangle. And in the movie, she ends up with one guy, but in the book, she ends up with the other guy. And so this is book 2 about the other, like the guy she gets along with in the movie is who this second book is about, because she doesn't get along with him, or like doesn't get with him in the book.
Weird.
And so it was just like, I really loved the movie, and I think it's because I saw it first. I think I would have like hated the movie if I knew that it ended this way or whatever first. So yeah, so it was like really hard for me to connect to, because I just like had this preconceived feelings about this character where he was supposed to be with this other girl, and instead now he's with this other girl, and blah, 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 blah. So I think that was like my main reason. So first of all, everyone always go read the book first. It's always better, because like there was really nothing wrong with the book. It was just hard for me personally because it wasn't like my necessarily like favorite anyway. Like it wouldn't have been like a 5-star read regardless of this in it, but I ended up giving it 2 stars for me. It just was, I've never DNF'd a book, which is like a total bookish red flag of mine. So maybe I would have been like, ugh, whatever, if I was somebody else, but I just pushed through. And
you've still never DNF'd a book?
Never ever. I have like fought to finish some books before, and there's still a book that has been like I've gotten it from the library like 3 times, and I just like I read a little bit and then I just can't, and it will come back again. And
that's what you were talking about it the other day, and I was like, you're still reading that book?
Reading it, yes.
I did DNF a book this month, and I think that was the first one of the year, but I did DNF a book or 2 last year, I think. I usually try not to. So with books to movies, I think the only one though that I like the series better than the book was Little Fires Everywhere, that ended up being like a short series on Hulu. And it was it's Reese Witherspoon. I don't know if you've seen any of the promos. It was a few years ago.
The reason I haven't seen it is because I haven't had a chance to read the book. Like it's on my list, girl. The ever long list.
But I did actually read the book first, and then I watched the series, and after watching it, I was like, I actually love the series, but the book felt kind of disjointed to me a little bit. Like it was kind of, I don't know, it kind of skipped around, like not in a good way. I don't know, but the series was great. So if you do read the book, I do recommend watching the series, because if you're disappointed with the book, you will not be disappointed with the series. Anyway, my second read for this month was Tools of Engagement, which is number 3 in the Hot and Hammered series by Tessa Bailey. Also, so cute. I loved this even more than the second one. They just kept getting better. It was so cute. There was a lot of like foster care representation in this book, which like also low-key made me cry. There was a whole quote at the end that was kind of related to that, but it like played into the love story in like these really cool ways, and it was so sweet, and I definitely did cry at the end. John walked in on me in the kitchen. I was like cooking dinner, and I was listening to the audiobook. Yeah. In the kitchen. I was listening to the audiobook while I was making dinner, and I like turned around and I had tears in my eyes.
It's the onions.
Nothing. It was just so sweet.
That's so cute, though. That's how you know it's a good book.
It was one of those books where you just like keep thinking about the characters afterward, because they were just so cute and they were really easy to connect with, and I don't know, it was just very good writing from Tessa. Very sweet.
Good job, Tessa. Well, we're keeping on the Tessa train because I knew you were reading Tessa Bailey. And so I was like, I want to read Tessa Bailey. I love her. So last month I read Secretly Yours, which is like the first in a Vine Mess series, which is like a vine as in like grapes and wine and that kind of stuff. So I read the second one, which is Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. And I love this book. I had a impromptu work road trip because of just a whole bunch of crazy circumstances. And so I ended up like driving like 3.5 hours one way to get to an event, and only was there for like 2 hours, and then had to drive 3.5 hours back. It was a whole exciting thing. So I finished the audiobook in one day. I just was driving and I was just audiobooking and living my best life. And I think that's why I love it so much, because it literally was my entire day spent with a book without any other interruptions other than like obviously driving or whatever. And so
that's the best.
Yeah, I loved it, and I was laughing out loud and I cried, and I was just like, it was good. It was so good. I liked it much better than the first one, but it's one of those like you have to know the characters from the first one to understand the second one kind of a thing. But Tessa Bailey never disappoints.
I had the same experience with that one where I liked Unfortunately Yours a lot more than Secretly Yours, but they're both really cute, but Unfortunately Yours was so cute.
I always liked the, first of all, forced proximity at any time.
Yes.
But I feel like I haven't really done like arranged marriage. That's not something I've super read, but we've weirdly read a bunch of that this year, I feel like, because we did like King of Wrath is like that. By Anna Huang. It just like keeps popping up, and that's kind of what this one is. It's like maybe that's also why I liked it.
Well, we are keeping it rolling still on Tessa Bailey.
Tessa Bailey.
This was my last Tessa Bailey book for now. I read Fangirl Down, which is her newest one. I gave this one 4 stars, probably because I was coming off of the end of the Hot and Hammered series where like you already know those characters so well. These characters I feel like I didn't relate to quite as much, but it was still so cute. I feel like she's going through this whole like sports romance era right now where she had one of the characters in the Hot and Hammered series was a professional baseball player, and then this one is a professional golfer. So it's like a golfer and his caddy. Number 1 fan turned caddy.
Oh,
it's very cute. And then I think she's writing a hockey romance, which is my personal favorite of the sports romance genre. Not that I like sports.
I don't know what it is about hockey romance. I like it better too, because I've read a couple football romances at the end of last year, and it doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't hit the same.
And we're reading a hockey romance right now, so we're both like, yep. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. So this one I had in our outline under Fangirl Down. My first note just said "spoicy."
One more time.
Spoicy. And Lauren saw it and she put a note that says the only review I needed to add this to my TBR.
Yep. Well, because for a little bit that was all you had written. Like you didn't come back.
That was while I was listening to the book. Yeah, I just that was my only note.
Okay, so my next one was one that I saw at Walmart because it's like a cute cover, and so it just ended up on my hold list for like 20 years, and somehow it became the one I read. I don't know, sometimes that happens. Like my hold list is just always, oh, I can't read you yet, go back. Oh, you're the lucky one. I'm available.
You are the chosen one.
You're so lucky. It was See You Yesterday by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I've never read this author before. And it was really cute. It was like Groundhog Day kind of vibes. Yeah. Like a girl is in college. I think she's a freshman. It's like her first day of school. And she ends up like stuck in a loop and finds someone else and they're in it together. That whole type of thing. Like a pretty common story trope. You know where it's going. You know what's happening kind of thing. There's a couple things that I struggled with. First of all, the movie Groundhog Day was playing in the quad in the 80s.
Oh.
Like, So it was like, in case you didn't know, this is what's
Just
happening.
like a blatant shout out.
In case you missed it. Yeah. And it was referenced a lot. And then like the narrator, because I did audiobook, I think she tried to voice a guy. Like she tried really hard. Like, I'm talking like a girl, and all of a sudden I am a boy. And it was just like the most monotone. Like,
So
I'm
bad.
doing a bad example, but my like closest thing I could connect it to was like, it sounded like Siri. Like a solid, like a girl in a lower tone. And it sounded like robotic-ish. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it was like, he's trying to say like cute romance. It was like YA. I don't know if it was YA straight up, but it wasn't like super spicy.
Okay.
But you know, like it was romance. So it's like he's trying to say something cute to her. And it was just like, yeah, no, this isn't it. I still gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. It was cute. It was just,
That's
I
pretty impressive.
I think if I would have read it, I would have because the narrator's what took me away from some of it. But.
Yeah. I remember you texting me that you were reading like a Groundhog Day kind of story, but I'm kind of surprised that it made it to 4 stars because I feel like for a trope that really can only go one direction.
Yeah, but sometimes that's nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to know what's going to happen. It's okay.
That's why we read fluffy rom-coms. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because at the same time, like this is my audiobook, but at the same time I'm reading House of Flame and Shadow. And that is, you don't know what's happening. And it's like right and left and all the things. And so it was kind of nice to have like I know what's happening. This is cute. I'm not surprised.
That's pretty much exclusively what I've been reading since I finished House of Flame and Shadow.
We can tell.
Okay, but then I read The 7-Year Slip.
You had a good month.
I did. They were all like 4 and 5 stars. So I read The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This ended up being, I think this is my new favorite book.
Like ever?
Like maybe ever.
Wow.
At least my favorite romance.
Wow.
I mean, nothing will ever truly replace Akamath in my heart. This is a different genre though, so I think we're calling it my favorite romance. It was just so sweet, and it's like such an instant comfort read, which I love. Like I wanted to reread it immediately, and I've been in a reading rut since I finished this book. It was so good. There was like really beautiful foreshadowing, but not in like an obnoxious, oh, I know exactly how this is gonna play out kind of a way. There were a lot of things that you figured like, oh, this might come into play later, or this is going to be awkward at some point, but it was just not in the way that I expected it to be. It was more realistic, even though the plot of the book was not like a realistic plot. Like there was definitely some like magic involved and stuff. I don't want to like, not that telling you the setup would be a spoiler, but I went in completely blind, and it was just, it was just really sweet. I just really loved it. And these are like, again, like characters you think about afterward, and I just like wanted to live in this book. It was just so cute. I just really loved it. So this was 5 stars for me. Definitely my favorite book of the month. One of my favorite books ever.
Well, and at the end of the year, we always do like our little like book bracket. Oh, hi, John.
Oh, he said, hold on.
Bye, see you later. We always do like one of our little book brackets. You know, like we did it last year, like each favorite book of the month, and then like what's our favorite book of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is it.
It might be it. I don't know. I mean, we're still early in the year, but
there's some big hitters coming out. So.
That's true. Funny. That is true.
Good.
She said that was good. That is true, though. Funny Story by Emily Henry is coming out next month, and I am super excited about that.
There could be some big ones out there. Like I don't know if those are happening this year.
So anyways, we'll see what we get.
She's not on this list today. Okay, so my next read was The Rooster Down the Block. I'm calling that The Rooster Down the Block by Amy Award. So first of all, let's talk about that last name. Amy Award. I just like every time I said it, I was like, oh, she deserves it. She's great. Okay, so this is just straight up whatever romance read. I saw the cover of it. I thought it was funny because I also saw the cover with the other books in the series. So it's like a family of 7 children. Oh. And so it's like the prequel is about the dad finding the mom. Okay. And in the first book, he is he's single parenting them. Since the oldest one, who this book is about, was 12. So however that happened. So I assume that's tells us in the prequel or somewhere in the series we learned that. But either way, it follows the oldest son, and it's like this really cute, like they're all family together and they're all like involved. Also, they're all football players. This is a football romance. Like the dad is literally the professional football coach. Oh. And 4 of them play on the same professional team.
Okay.
And the rest of them are either in college or high school or something, so they're not at that level. And so it's all boys and 1 girl at the end. So if I follow the series, I'm really excited for that book. I think it'll be so cute. But the second one's like about like a wiener dog. This one's about the rooster. The one before that was about the bear, and it looks like a giant heck of a dog on the cover. I don't actually know. So I literally went back and like wrote down word for word this little content note at the beginning because I just thought it was so cute. And I think it just like set the mood for the book, and that's why I liked it so much. Sometimes you read these things and something is said and you just like want to roll your eyes or like that's so dumb, that's cheesy. But like this note like set it up. Okay, so content note. This book is fluff. Fluff that I worked really hard on and am extremely proud of. It's meant for escapism and laughs. We need fluff. It's an insulation from the harsh world around us. And finally, I love to write about funny animals and pets. No pets will ever be harmed or die in any of my books. I like to cry at touching Super Bowl commercials and Broadway musicals about witches who defy gravity, not in my romances. So I just thought it was so, and so like with that going into it, just like it is fluff. And so like there was some silly, goofy scenarios, and the other like the main chicken, like the main rooster, like if there was a rooster heavily involved in this story. His name is Luke Skycotter. Luke has an ongoing relationship with Kylo Hen. They are also having a romance that the main characters often discuss and talk about.
There's a rooster romance happening alongside the main romance.
Yes. And like literally like at like the pinnacle moment of like this whole like is it gonna happen, he like is outside on the porch having a heart to heart with this rooster and it's like I'm gonna go do it, and like literally the rooster walks into the little chicken coop, he walks into the house, all of that. I think I would have just like such an eye roll, such like an awful, like this is awful, but like knowing she's like this is fluff, it's meant to be, have laughs, enjoy it, like don't take it too serious. And so with that, I'm like, I just loved every second of it. And so I gave it 4 stars. Like it wasn't like my favorite out there, but it was so good. And I do plan to read the rest of that series. Yeah, it was just so good. That's all I got.
I love a good author's note too. And I forgot to say there is like an author's note at the end of the 7-year slip. And I like loved that too. It was just everything about it was so good.
Did she say it? Or was it like a narrator?
I don't think she read it herself. I think it was the narrator.
I don't actually know if it was, but it sounded like a different voice. Like it sounded like, this is my book and here is this. And then it was like, the book is starting, kind of a thing.
I love
for like
that.
the narrator. So I think she did her own. I don't know. I should look it up, but it was really
so
good.
Cute. My next book was a reread, and it was inspired by Hadestown the musical because I got to see that this month. Shout out to Emily for getting us comp tickets for that show. They had a friend that was in the show. Lauren wants to come next time.
Hook me up.
All you gotta do is drive 9 hours and then you can come to the show.
See you there.
So we got to see Hadestown earlier this month and it was so good. I love the music in it. It was like very New Orleans kind of jazzy music, which I wasn't expecting. I intentionally didn't listen to any of the music before we went to the show because I wanted to be like surprised, and it was so good. I like to fly blind when I read books, and I kind of do the same thing when I see shows. So the show Hadestown follows Eurydice and Orpheus, but Hades and Persephone are also like main characters in the show. And so afterward, I was like so hyped on the show. It just really put me in this like dark Olympus kind of mood with Hades and Persephone. And so I reread Neon Gods by Katie Robert. Neon Gods was like my first truly spicy book, so I feel like it holds a special place in my heart. And I listened to it on audio, and I love the audiobook narrators for this series. The third book in the series, Wicked Beauty, I think is my favorite, but I haven't decided if I'm gonna like reread the whole series or not. I haven't come back to the series since I reread this one, but I just listened to it on audio because I like the narrators a lot, and that was like just kind of satisfied the little craving I was having for the whole vibe, like for that week. So that was cute. That's a 4-star book for me. I do really like that series.
I also really like that series, and this was last summer for me, and you were like, just try audiobooks, because I had never audiobooks before.
Was this your first audiobook?
Not Neon Gods, but the 4th one, okay. Radiant Sin.
Yes,
I think that was my first audiobook ever, and so that was fun. But
oh my gosh.
Now audiobooks is like one of my main ways to read.
So I had listened to several audiobooks up to this point, but I was on a work trip when I read this one. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I started the audiobook like just while I was getting ready in the morning in my hotel room, and I was like completely by myself, but I was just like blushing, like listening to the audiobook in my hotel room. But it's just so good, and the whole series is just like such a vibe. I just wanted to reread that one, so that was a quick kind of reread for me, but I do love that series.
All right.
Let's talk about it.
I finally finished. I got it on release day, and I just finally finished House of Flame and Shadow by our queen, Sarah J. Maas. It's crazy because I love Crescent City and like the series. I think Bryce and Hunt are some of my, like, I know that this is not a popular opinion. I also have not read Throne of Glass, but they are some of my favorite characters. Like, I've always been shipping them and like all the things. But I've struggled through, I think, every single book. I don't know what it is. Like, it's not as heavily on the romance stuff, maybe, if that's what it is for me, or specifically Flame and Shadow is just like important thing. Don't have time to react because here's another important thing, and you can't react to that either. Another important thing, and don't forget any of it because it probably connects to like 100 other things that you're supposed to remember somehow. I felt like that meme of that guy with all the, like, the pins on his board and he's like kind of going insane. Like, that's what it felt like reading this book. Like, I love Sarah J. Maas. I love the characters. I have, like, of course you always have a character here and there you're not a fan of or whatever, but regardless, it's Sarah J. Maas book. Like, I feel like I can't complain. At the same time, I want to complain about it. And I feel like that's kind of where you are. Like, you've not been able to really talk about it. Like, I don't think we've been able to put into words our feelings just because.
Yeah, like, we were talking about it the other day and I was like, I'm so excited to talk about this with you now that you finally finished it. But also, like, I don't even know what I would say. Like,
yeah.
I finished the book in 4 days. Which
Right.
still felt like, I mean, I know a few people who read it in one sitting, and I'm like, how did you even like mentally do that? Because I felt like in 4 days, I felt like it took all the brain power that I had. It took like every brain cell that I had left to finish this book because it's so much information. Like, you have to pause at the end of every page because you're like, okay, wait, what did I just read? How does this affect things?
There was no build up to any of it because it jumped between so many characters and so many of their stories. Yeah. So it's like maybe there was build up, but because it was interrupted by 3 other stories, now it's been 2 days for me, or 3 days before I even got back to that person, like actual days.
Yes.
And so it was just like, wait, where did that even come from? Like, I would have done better if it was like almost like a book of short stories. Yeah. Like, can somebody out there rearrange it where it's all of Bryce's story, all of, you know, like,
it's the opposite of the tandem read.
All of Rune, you just put it back together and give me a book of short stories, and I think I would have done better with that.
I feel like this should have been like several books, but also it all happened in like 10 days.
Right. Which is like, how like real world would be. Like, I totally get it. Like, in this intense scenario of things, and there's so many characters across a whole entire continent, all of it could be happening at the same time. But to try to like
mash it all together. I think it's also tough because we're so used to like this beautiful character development that Sarah J. Maas writes, but there's no time for that in a book that takes place in like a week. So even though there's a lot of events happening, there's not really like there aren't really any like character arcs. There's no beautiful love romance unfolding. I think we get like little snippets of that, but it's not the same type of writing that we usually get, I think partially because of the timeline, and there's so many things happening at once.
Yeah, and it literally is like a character arcs that do happen. You don't have time to react to it.
Yeah, I think there's some perspective shifts of like things we didn't know about a character until now, and it helps you understand them better, but there's not really time for a lot of like personal development and growth over like a 1 week period.
It was a book. It was a lot. I just feel like at loss for words, like, because I don't want to talk bad about Sarah. She's like the best, but at the same time, I just really struggled. So, with all that being said, there was still some huge, mind-blowing moments that I was like, like jaw drop, freaking out, like throughout the whole book. It just, without the build-up, maybe it wasn't like the end of the last book. I literally threw down and ran across my house screaming, like I was like yelling at my husband all about what was just happening. The characters he doesn't know anything about, and so like this one was just like turn the page. Oh, something else. Like,
yeah.
So I still gave it 4 stars because there was still those epic moments that like any other book that would probably be a 5-star if that happened, but just because it was like,
that's true, without
the emotional connection to some of it, I got 4 stars.
Yep. It's a lot. I do appreciate like the setup for the coming books. Like, I'm excited. I feel like even though this was like a lot, I am way more excited to read whatever's coming next. Like, I think whatever's coming next will be really cool, but can't say any specifics about that. When I read Crescent City 2, at the end of the book, I was sitting in this room, like in this very seat. This is where it happened.
Wow.
I was sitting right here, and John, I mean, just like we are now, like John's over here in the room, and he was playing video games, or probably, and I finished the book. I'm reading it in print. I finish it, and I am shouting. I was like freaking out about the end of Crescent City 2, and I'm yelling the events of the book at John, thinking there was no way he was ever going to read this book or know who any of these characters are. And now he's starting Crescent City 1, but it's been like a year, and I don't think he remembers anything that I told him, because I've also shouted about some other books in the meantime. So I'm like really desperately hoping. I don't think so. Are you listening to me? He rolled his eyes and went.
Okay, good.
So yes, I'm just desperately hoping he doesn't remember anything. And I feel like by the time you get to that point in the book anyway, like your mind
You're
is
not
just
prepared.
like, no, it's wild. So I'm very excited for John to read those books too, because I'm trying desperately to not let him see any spoiler comments also. No spoilers here. Yeah. We are a spoiler-free account.
To our best of our ability.
Yes.
Unless there's like giant warning labels.
Yes. So,
anyway.
All right. We're bringing it back down for the last book of the month. So my last book of this month was Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is the second book in her Twisted series. This was also 3 stars for me, but I think it might have been 4 if I wasn't in this like giant reading slump from the 7-year slip, because it was just like so good. I'm like kind of bummed about that, because I wanted to like this one more than I did, and also just because Reese Larson is like all of the book boyfriend things. I mean,
we love him.
Yes, and it's narrated by Aiden Snow. We talked about that last month. I love Aiden Snow's voice. Like, that's all great. I didn't feel as connected to these characters, but I think I do really like the setup for the coming characters in the book too. Like, I'm still excited to finish the series. I'm very intrigued by Christian. You get like snippets of him and all these like little interactions with him and stuff, and people talk about him, and like there's all these hints to like who he is.
So that's where I stopped. Like, I've only read the first 3, and I'm pretty sure the 4th one is about him. So we should read that together.
Let's read it together.
Because when we read King of Wrath, Christian is in that book. Yes. And I was like, oh, this connects to the Twisted series. You just haven't read it. And then I'm like, I also haven't read anything about Christian, but I also don't know. So we should probably read that together.
Let's do that. I am still excited to finish the series. I just haven't been like so like sucked into it or like super wrapped up in the books. But I think it's just because I'm like still honestly recovering from House of Flame and Shadow. And then I read the 7-year slip like right before this book, and I just loved it so much. I think it just would have been hard to read anything after that, but it's keeping me going.
It is crazy how, because like I've said it today, and now you just said, like, because of this book gets this rating. When you're just, I feel like we just knock them out sometimes, you know, and we only read 6 books this month each. But when you're reading 100-something books, it's like, I don't know if I remember that. That was like 70 books ago. That's a long time. That's like, because we think about like the worlds you're jumping into and the characters you're meeting, it's like all new people, and it is so fun, and I'm not going to change my habits. Sometimes a book could be so good, and it just gets unlucky because of the placement.
And I usually read series like back to back to back, like I did with like Tessa Bailey or whatever. But I didn't do that with this one. I had taken a break for several books between Twisted Love and Twisted Games, so maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe I should just roll right into the next one.
I went on like a whole Anna Huang kick. I read a bunch of her others in another series that she has, and then read these. I don't think the 4th one was out yet. Anyways, my last book that I have finished this month was Business or Pleasure, also by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Really liked the last one, the Groundhog's Day one. We just talked about it, See You Yesterday. And so I was coming out of House of Flame and Shadow, and I'm like, oh, cool, I like this author. Let's go find another one of hers. So, like, I searched for this one, like, specifically because of the author or whatever, and just knew it would be, like, something light and cute, probably something expected, you know, all the things from earlier. I did not like this book, and I don't say that very often. So this is Business or Pleasure. It starts with a girl who is a ghost writer. So she's, like, writing a book for famous people, basically. And she's, like, struggling with her identity as a person. Like, she wanted to be a writer, but now she's writing, but, like, nobody knows it's her. Like, this whole whatever. And she meets this random guy. They have a one-night stand, and it is the most descriptive awful sex I have
Oh,
ever
this
heard
is the one.
in my whole entire life. I know, I texted you about it.
We
Like,
did talk about.
I
I
have
didn't realize it was this book. Oh my gosh.
I have never cringed so much just at anything. I don't know what else to say about it. She goes the next day. She gets a call for a new job. She walks in. Surprise, surprise. It's this dude. He's actually some famous dude she has to write a book for. And so they like, she agrees to the job, like whatever reasons, and ends up where she's like giving him lessons and how to not be bad at things. And she like tells him straight up, he like calls his exes in front of her and they all like confirm, yeah, he sucks at it or whatever. And so that's like the premise of this book. It's like they're doing like their business or whatever / pleasure ? I don't know.
Is it?
And so it's like the most clinical. This is what this body part is, and this is how it works, and blah blah blah. Okay, now let's try it. And it was just not it. It was.
Ew.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what else to say about it. I liked that it was forced proximity. Loved that. But then it had like a third act breakup. I was like at a point where I was like, okay, I think I'll probably still give it 3 stars. Like there's been parts that I like, whatever. And then it was that. And I was like, yeah, no. I don't think I've ever 1-starred a book before.
Ooh.
So I gave it 2 stars. Maybe people need a lesson. Maybe you should read
Maybe
that book.
she wrote it for the good of the people. I don't know. Which people?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Not me.
Not me.
It was not for me, so it was a choice. So I have a bunch of her other books on my TBR, and this was just one that I picked, and I think I'll just take a break for a little bit. Because, like, I really liked the first one. This just wasn't it. It was an experience for sure.
It sounds like it. I was loving your text messages about that one.
Well, yeah, because, like, he's, like, famous because he was, like, a teen star in, like, a werewolf TV show thing, and they're literally like touring Comic-Cons, and like people are dressed up all weird, and he's like on these panels, like it's like a whole, like I felt like when I was texting you, it just was like, and this, oh, and also this, and also this is in this book, and this random crazy, yeah, I don't know.
Couldn't make it up if we tried.
Yeah, for real.
But she could.
She did. That's how we've ended March. So
that's how we've ended March. Yes, we are currently buddy reading a book for the first time, and we did a buddy read in January. Was that the last one?
This is our first buddy read since John joined our TikTok. Yeah.
It was like the first week of January, so this is our first buddy read in a while. We used to like almost exclusively buddy read books. We were doing it all the time, so this has been really fun to like get back into buddy reading together. We're currently reading Icebound by Meredith Trapp. It's on Kindle Unlimited. We are also, for this buddy read, we typically do Storygraph buddy reads, which is why we call it buddy read, because that's what their feature is called. But we are testing out the Fable Book Club app for the first time right now in preparation for our Patreon, because we're testing out ways to do really big, like open book clubs where we can invite a ton of people and read along with you guys. So
I think you even called like our little book club like testing 1, 2, 3. I thought it was so cute. For Icebound, I feel like we've heard like mixed reviews. There was so much, I think it was like the author, like so much hype on her Instagram, which is what
her marketing is incredible. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm further along in the book than you are.
Yeah,
so
I'm still only
really
like 5 chapters in. It's cute right now. I am not very far into the book yet, so we'll see.
Think about what you texted me earlier. Okay. Anyways, so far, obviously, we're enjoying this book.
Yes. If anything, we'll get some good inside jokes out of it.
Yes, we will. Sometimes that's what the bad books do, though. I don't even remember what that book was called, but whatever the chalk chip one was.
That was Icebreaker.
No, that wasn't Icebreaker.
Yes, it was Icebreaker, I swear.
You're telling me. I thought it was that weird one where that girl was with the hockey guy and then she like ditches for like 3 years later or whatever.
I do know what you're talking about with that one. That was
some other hockey one.
Romance too? I guess it was.
Yeah. They're all blurred together.
What was that one called? It's like 3 words. I feel like
Until I get you.
Yeah.
Until I see you or something.
Until I get you. Yeah. No, that wasn't that one. It was Icebreaker.
So you're telling me Icebreaker gave us chalk chip instead of chocolate chip cookies, and Icebound gave us bloobs instead of blueberries? Oh. So good. Anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah, my cheeks hurt. That's it for March. We did it. Woo.
We are really looking forward to April. There are a lot of really great books coming out. A few of them are coming out on April 2nd that we're looking forward to from authors that we've read before.
So I'm looking forward to The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. That comes out on April 2nd. So she's the author of like the Cheat Sheet and Off Limits Rule, when in Rome series, like those ones.
And then also on April 2nd is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and we love her. We love her books. They're so good. So we're super excited for that.
Bridesmaids for Hire comes out by Megan Quinn. I've only read one of Megan Quinn's. It was one of my free Stuff Your Kindle Day books, and it was also a hockey romance. Guess that's the theme. But anyways, Bridesmaid for Hire comes out April 2nd.
I haven't read any of her books yet, actually. There's like a million of them on my TBR, and I see the cute little book covers pop up all the time, but maybe that will be my first one. I don't know. But what I'm most excited about for April is Funny Story by Emily Henry, coming out on April 23rd. I'm so excited. Emily Henry is one of my personal favorites. I've pre-ordered a signed copy of this one. I also have I'm so excited. I used like a Barnes & Noble gift card months ago and just went ahead and pre-ordered it. I have a signed copy of Happy Place as well, which is one of my favorites like ever. I also love like book lovers and people we meet on vacation and beach read. I mean, they're all so good. So I'm just really excited to see what she has for us here with Funny Story. And Julia Whalen is narrating this one again. She's my favorite audiobook narrator. Her performance reading Happy Place is like my favorite audiobook performance of all time. It's so good. I could gush about that forever, but that's my most anticipated read definitely for April.
Join our Patreon. Be our friend. I think we both have talked about, like, with our account going so big, at least for me, I can't speak for you, but I feel like some of it, I've lost that community. Like, I felt like I'm really excited to, like, narrow it down again and just, like, really get to know and, like, be in the community with the people and read books together and go back to our roots.
Our roots.
All the things.
Our roots from 2 months ago.
Hey, we've been doing this for, like, 8 months or something.
We have. I keep seeing all these really cute like Bookstaversary posts where people do like their Bookstagram birthday and they do like a little candle, like a little cake and candles and stuff.
Smash cake.
Smash cake. Yeah, I feel like we should do, if not a trip, we should at least have a party or something for our 1 year Bookstaversary. That's such a cute idea.
I think we did it in early August.
It was August, yeah. August 9th, because it was Book Lovers Day. So cute.
Anyways, make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on TikTok and on Instagram. That's the big one. I feel like our TikTok, like everybody follows us, but Instagram is like where we're posting our stories and like sharing all the, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but like pictures of us at home doing things and that kind of stuff. So
yes, we do a lot of like Q&A type stuff on Instagram stories as well. Like a lot of question boxes and extra little links, and there's some more bonus content, I would call it, on Instagram. All of our accounts are linked in the description box below, along with our website. And on our website, you can browse our merch. We have all of our links for Lauren and I for our Goodreads and Storygraph accounts, all the things. We will continue posting our monthly reading wrap-ups here on YouTube, but we are so excited about all the things we have coming this month. We hope to see you guys on Patreon, and then like Lauren said, our Instagram and TikTok as well.
And maybe a podcast coming soon.
Thank you guys for all of your support, your messages, your love. We love you guys so much, and as always, thank you for reading with us.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, girl.
We did it.
Yay, my cheeks hurt really bad.
No, mine too. I need a cheek massage.
Business expense.